ECU?
R.
Do you bleed purple and gold? Are you ready to hoist the colors?
Hoist the colors!
It's time for the most in-depth look into the world of ECU athletics. Welcome to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Here's Stephen Igo.
Welcome in. It is a new week. Monday, October 6th. We're just a few days out from East Carolina-Tulane. Huge ball game down in New Orleans set for this Thursday night. We'll get into all that. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, and X. A former Pirate made national headlines, worldwide headlines in many ways. Yesavage for the Toronto Blue Jays. We'll get into here in a few minutes as well. The comments section on 94.3 The Game, YouTube, as well as our Twitter page on Hoist the Colors, and also Facebook. All of those are open for comment if you got anything to say. Man, what a huge sports weekend in general. ECU off, although, again, we'll continue to talk about the Tulane game. We'll hit on MLB playoffs, NFL. The Carolina Panthers win a game that Philip Pilkington was at. We'll ask him about that throughout the show as well. MLB playoffs have been pretty electric, and, of course, college football to catch up on as well. A couple American teams ranked in the top 25. So
there's one NFL game you didn't mention, and I'm sure Lane's already listening, so you might as well.
That is true. Lane Smith. I got something to say, man. I was told that this was Denver Broncos hate week, and that how bad would the Eagles beat the Denver Broncos by? Well, your Philadelphia Eagles blew a 17-3 lead, and the Denver Broncos in the Eagles' long winning streak. He is in the comments section. He says the Eagles and Phillies really let me down this week. Yeah, brutal loss for the Phillies. Our guy Brady Thomas, he was in the bank for that game. Teoscar Hernandez for the Dodgers hits a go-ahead home run late. They win. The Dodgers win over the Phillies. So game 2 coming up tonight or today between those two franchises. But yeah, he says the Pirates are going to fix it. So Lane he's now all back in on ECU, all the way out on Philly. But what happened, Lane? Let me know. Kenny Curlin says Cowboys win. The Broncos beat the Eagles. That's a great football weekend. I'll tell you what, Philip, great day for many of my closest friends and myself yesterday. You are included in that with the Carolina Panthers. I thought Bryce Young was on his way to his career ending. The Miami Dolphins, though, could not finish it off. The Panthers win. I want to get your take on that in a minute. For me, the Broncos beat the Eagles. Yesavage, incredible, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. Still can't even believe that. Then the Seattle Mariners win their first home playoff game in 24 years last night. So, it was cloud 9.
And our guy Bobby Harvard's Commanders also coming from down double digits yesterday.
The Commanders beat the Chargers. And, man, what a weekend of sports. How was it in Bank of America yesterday?
A lot of Dolphins fans kind of quiet getting out of there. No, I'm just kidding. It was 50-50.
I feel like that's typical Panther games these days.
I'm not going to lie. It's 17-0. I looked at my mom, my grandma, said, you guys want to go to the NASCAR race? It starts in 45 minutes. And they were like, if we don't score here. And one time it got really quiet, and I stood up and yelled towards David Tepper's box. You said you weren't going to expect mediocrity. Well, this crap ain't mediocre.
He heard you.
Another word. He did not, but people around me started cheering. And right about that time, we started playing well. So, hey, I could just. I said we need to fire everybody and start with our POS owner. And then I said what I just said. And I said so, yeah. And everybody started cheering me, and then it worked. So I guess you just got to, reverse psychology, talk crap, and they'll play better.
Panthers 2-0 at home, right?
Yeah,
that's
Cowboys coming in next week.
Oh, gosh.
Which means Cowboys 31, Carolina 14 if they're lucky, because I don't think Carolina's got the offense to hang with Dallas. I mean, Dallas' defense is bad, but still, Carolina doesn't have the offense.
And how many Dallas fans are going to be there?
Oh, it'll be 70% Cowboy fans.
That's going to be bad. All right, well, we may talk some more NFL, which, by the way, speaking of Panthers, we'll have Kason Rameli. He's a Panthers guy. He'll join us tomorrow for the show. And looking forward to that. And later this week, we will have our old friend Corey Galore on as well. We'll have Kevin Rowe and Corey Galore on Wednesday's show, which, full disclosure, I'll be on the way to New Orleans, but we will have that show recorded for you at that time on Wednesday. So, and then we'll be live from New Orleans on Thursday. All right, I'll tell you what, we'll talk ECU-Tulane later. You guys can drop in the chat. We just had our Blake Harrell press conference, and these Thursday games are just weird, but we'll hit on that in a little bit. Let's leave with Yesavage, man. Just kind of hard to fathom the rise to, I guess you have to say stardom at this point after yesterday. Only 4 Major League Baseball starts. I think the first one came back on September 15th against the Rays. They slot him in as the Game 2 starter against the Yankees. I love Trey. I'm like, man, that's a big ask. But when I saw him say, I'm built for this in the press conference leading into the game, I'm like, all right, this is it's either going to be legendary or an epic letdown, and it was legendary. 5 1/3, no hit innings, 78 pitches. His only walk was to Aaron Judge with 1 out in the top of the first. He struck out the side 3 times. He had 11 Ks. I think he generated like a 68% whiff percentage. I don't have the exact stat in front of me on a splitter. Aaron Boone said after the game that splitter is just like something you never see. Keep in mind, they just saw Gosman in Game 1, who has one of the best splitters in Major League Baseball as well. Blue Jays win at 13-7, but, man, this was all about Trey Yesavage. And kind of incredible, Phillip, what he's already able to do. Like, we knew he has that dog in him, but this is a new level. This is incredible.
You had that dog in you against Giancarlo Stanton and Cody Bellinger and
striking
Aaron
out
Judge.
Yeah, it's a different ballgame.
It's one thing to have good stuff, and it's another thing to be able to present it on the biggest stage in the world. And he just did it. Playoff baseball, only game on in the entire country or the entire world. Guess it was definitely their only game in the country. They only have one team up there. But that was just great. And I think the run support definitely helped some of these stats, right? Because he knew that he had, one bad pitch was not going to hurt the game. So I think that helped a little bit. You're a little more free-flowing when if you let up a bomb, the world won't end. But credit to him to go out there toe-to-toe with the best, one of the best lineups in the world and do what he did. Now the tough thing is pressure's on. They're going to expect you to do it next week too when he faces your Seattle Mariners.
We're not even going to go that far. Let's beat Detroit a few more times first, and the Blue Jays got to win a third.
Not a few,
again.
only a couple. Only 2 more times you got to beat Detroit.
A few is a few two.
A couple is 2, and a few is 3, 4, 5.
All right, 2 more wins over Detroit, but we'll get into that. I tell you what, let's hear the Trey Yesavage post-game interview. We pulled that up right before the show, and if you've heard it before, I think it's even worth hearing again. One of the best on-field interviews after a divisional round win I've seen watching baseball. Here's Trey Yesavage on the field after the game.
Canadians don't give curtain calls to just anyone. How did you feel about being told to come back out here and acknowledging this fan base?
It was awesome. You guys are rocking. The city's awesome, and I love you guys.
Trey, this is not an easy franchise to face. 11 strikeouts, 8 via that splitter of yours. You made Kevin Gosman awfully proud, I'm sure. At what point in the game did you feel like you really had a good feel for that split?
From the start, racking up the whiffs, racking up the Ks, offense behind me putting up runs, confidence was through the roof.
Your parents, Dave and Cheryl, your brother, Cole, they're here. They were nice enough to have me speak with them during our broadcast. Your dad and your mom were really emotional when I asked them what it was like to see their little guy out there on the mound. It takes a village. Tell me what's going through your mind knowing that you've got the most important people in your lives here to watch this historic performance.
They're my people. They're the reason I'm here right now. I couldn't love them more. Mom, Dad, Cole, Chase, you're at college. I love you guys.
You got 40 million people loving you right back. You're not just built for this moment. You're built for the postseason and October.
Absolutely. Let's go, Toronto!
Trey Yesavage.
Man, that's electric stuff there. Again, Blue Jays up in the series now, 2-0 over the Yankees, going back to New York. New York would have to win twice just to get it back to Toronto for Game 5. But, yeah, deeper look at the numbers here. Trey Yesavage, he throws 78 pitches. his whiff percentage, 58.1%. So more than half the time the Yankees were swinging, they were missing. On the splitter, 69%, 68.8%. Also generated a whiff percentage of 83.3% on the slider. So his fastball doesn't grade out elite per MLB standards, but when you have the split and the slider, it doesn't really matter. And it'll be interesting. I got some questions in the VIP chat this morning, Philip, about, like, Trey Yesavage, is he going to have to go through a rough patch at some point? And the answer to that is yes. I don't know when that's going to come. Like, the league will adjust to him.
Yeah.
And then he'll have to adjust back. I do think his splitter is good enough that, like, he'll always produce swing and misses. But then it's just like, at some point the league will adjust. He'll have to adjust back. It's just a matter of when that happens. It may not be until next season, but, like, he's not going to be this dominant forever.
No, nobody is, right? I mean, everybody has, even Skeens there, I think, was like, it was late last year, his, 7th, 8th, 9th start. Not that he was bad, but he just wasn't as dominant as he can be. And Trey will have that, right? And then, just throughout your career, you're going to have bad outings. That's part of it. You mentioned the fastball not being quite what he wants it to be. It's okay, like you said, as long as you have two off speeds, and it's two different. That's the thing. He does have two different things that are really good that are not fastball. However, he's going to need to improve it just a little bit, just a little more movement on it, or just be really good with his location. But look, man, the kid's 22 years old. He's got plenty of time to get that figured out. He hasn't even had a off season with the big league pitching coaches yet. He was down there in the minors. Yeah, even in spring training, like, he might have worked with those guys some, but they were molding the arms that were going to make the big league ball club, or at least the AAA ball club. And he didn't start out in AAA, at the beginning of the season. So all that stuff will come to him. He's going to be a darn good pitcher in this league, and I'm excited to be along for the ride. And we even saw it, Gavin. It took him a couple years to really hone in, and now everybody in Cleveland is ready to make him the ace for sure.
Kenny Curlin's in the chat, says former Pirate pitchers starting in the MLB playoffs is fantastic. East Carolina needs to market that as much as possible. Yeah, ton of buzz on the ECU baseball Twitter account, social media accounts. Also, shout out to Mama Yesavage, who dropped during an in-game interview. She dropped ECU, and I know she was a fan of the show when we had Trey on. And it wasn't that long. It was like last calendar year, Philip. He was on the show, right?
Yeah, he was on the show about 15, 16 months ago.
Yeah, I mean, and like, look, I'm not trying to take credit for it, but I feel like we helped mold his interview skills.
I think so. He definitely grew in his time. I mean, as all these guys do, through post-game stuff. And, the sports information department does a good job working with these guys when they have some downtime and they can. And he, coming in here, I think he was definitely a little shy, a little nervous the first time. And the more we got him on, the more relaxed he came. He seemed very relaxed yesterday. Than the emotional. There was the one time there was just a lot of cheers and a pause after she asked the question. Trey he knew he was going to lose it if he answered the question right away. So it was really good to see and really proud of him.
It's sometimes when we bring some players in, not all, not even the majority, like, it feels like they're kind of just doing it to get over with. I thought Trey was always, like, intentional when he came in and, like, took it seriously. He was always great communicating. And so, like, you just want to pull – obviously, for Pirates, when they're like good, genuine people too, raised the right way, it just makes it that much more special. So it's super cool, I know, for the fans and for us to like get to know these guys and to see them on that stage. It's like, gosh, in many ways, it's like, well, there's our not our kid, but like there's somebody we talk to. They're succeeding at the highest level, and you almost get that same feeling. So it's pretty special, man.
It is, and Trey was always good to take pictures with the kids and sign autographs after games. He was really nice, I think, to the Pirate Nation. I think a lot of people really appreciated him, and for the kids of Greenville too, it's really special. I think of them saying, "Hey, I've met that guy." Right? It is cool for us, but it's a little different. Us, 30 years old, give or take a couple of years. But it's even for those, there's 8, 9-year-old Pirate fans right now thinking about the first time they ever met Trey Yesavage.
So Toronto up 2-0. The Mariners win last night. They tried to blow it.
So you tried to blow it.
Yeah, I was very upset until Kyle Raleigh and Julio doubled back to back in the bottom of the 8th. They win at 3-2. They are now 3-0 against Tarek Skubal in games he started this year for the Tigers, which is crazy. The best pitcher in baseball. They'll go back to Detroit. It feels like that series is going to go 5. We'll see. So they may have to face Skubal again. If it does, you have the Brewers and the Phillies. The Brewers jumped all over the Cubs. They win 9-3. The Phillies jumped all over the Dodgers. The problem is Ohtani settled in, and the Dodgers came back. They won 5-3. So those series, kind of a different deal. They played one game, then get Sunday off, and they play today, and they get Tuesday off for travel. So some critical games coming up in the NLDS tonight. Dodgers-Phillies at 6 and the Cubs-Brewers at 9. What are your thoughts on kind of the playoffs overall thus far now that your Red Sox are eliminated?
I think the NL is always interesting how you get that one day off early because they obviously don't want to have everybody off on Monday and they want to have games. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how teams adapt, how they change their approach, especially the teams who had the bye, right? Because they've only played one game now in the last 8 days. So do they look flat? Do they look rusty? And do they change from what they did, the other day? Now, obviously, the Brewers don't have much to change, all right? It was very pretty for them. I got home. I was having lunch with a buddy, and I got home. It's like 9-0. I was like, oh, I guess both TVs will just be football until the next baseball game starts. There's no need to watch this Brewers game. Philly, on the other hand, it was heartbreaking, right? They thought they had that thing won. So for me, it's just going to be how do they respond? Do they come out and they look flat? It seems like there's always one team who gets a bye who does kind of look flat. And I think if Philly does not win this game, it could be a very quick series and a very quick postseason for what was the first team in all of baseball to clinch postseason berth. I could be wrong. Could have been the Brewers. But, yeah.
Yeah, it feels like when that home team loses the first game, I mean, if they don't bounce back in game 2, it's almost a wrap.
I think the 0-1 Yankees were able to come back and do it, but that was back before the extra time off, and also there was the 0-1 Yankees against the A's. So
yeah. Luzardo goes for the Phils tonight, Blake Snell for the Dodgers, and then Imanaga for Chicago against Ashby for Milwaukee. All right, let's get a break in. When we come back, we will talk ECU-Tulane. We are just 3 days out from that. We just had our Blake Harrell press conference. We also talked to Zion Wilson and Kyle Long, a couple big guys along the trenches. We'll kind of recap those conversations, get our early vibes on Tulane ECU. Some thoughts there as the Pirates get ready to head to New Orleans for what will be a critical conference game. So that and more after this.
The team of Flatlands Jessup is working overtime to help ensure that Eastern North Carolinians like you get the health insurance help you need this open enrollment period. New legislation passed meaning more people than ever qualify for affordable coverage. Let us help you today.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
Tired of the 1-800 numbers advertising Medicare products? Flatlands Jessup has 6 offices all throughout Eastern North Carolina. Get face-to-face help from our local award-winning licensed team. Stop by today. Flatlands Jessup, your whole world covered.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Arg!
In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation from a real person? Right. That's what's so nice about Phelps Chevrolet. After more than 50 years serving our community, Phelps remains family-owned and operated. Mike, Daryl, Wave, West, Allen, and Clay deliver hometown service and integrity, same as always. They share your experience, they share your values, and they are ready to help with any motoring need. Come get you one.
Welcome back in, Hoist the Colors. Lots to get to on this Monday. We just talked some MLB. We talked about Trey Yesavage. Again, if you missed any of the show and you want to catch the replay, check it out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, also archived as well on our YouTube and Facebook pages. So check those out on 94.3 The Game. Our subscriber count continues to rise on YouTube, so make sure to hit that subscribe and thumbs up button if you're watching now. Always helps our live stream. All right. ECU-Tulane this Thursday. We just left the Blake Harrell press conference. We'll get into that here in a minute. I'm looking at the line on DraftKings. When I checked it yesterday morning, the line was at 7.5 in favor of Tulane. Now it is down to 6.5. So the Pirates right around a touchdown underdog going to Tulane. ESPN's Football Power Index has ECU rated, I think, 56th and Tulane 57th. ECU is ranked like 31st in defensive efficiency nationally. Now, this is accounting – all these numbers account for your opponent, and it also takes out garbage time, at least in terms of like the value of it. So it's like fair efficiency. It doesn't just rank how efficient you are play to play. It takes into a bunch of factors. Tulane is top 50 in offense, defense, and special teams efficiency. ECU's ranked like 68th in offensive efficiency and I think in the 60s on special teams, but near a top 30 defense. So feels like a pretty even matchup, and I think this line is about right, Phillip. If this game was in Greenville, I think it'd be close to a pick'em, maybe Tulane a slight favorite, because you also got to keep in mind like your national betting public is going to say, hey, Tulane, they've been pretty good in the American recently. They're probably a better team. So they're going to naturally pick Tulane. I think this is about as even of a game on paper as I've seen ECU play maybe this year. And it's just going to come down to, in my opinion, red zone execution, key plays, turnovers, like all the typical football things we always talk about going into these type of matchups.
Yeah, I think on paper, these teams, like you said, are very even. The difference I've seen in Tulane and East Carolina this year is I've seen Tulane put 4 quarters of football together, and I have not seen East Carolina put 4 quarters of football together. Well, other than the Campbell game, but against an FBS
which doesn't
team.
count,
Yeah. Even the Coastal game, the first half was so. That I think is what it comes down to. ECU will have to play 4 quarters against Tulane. Tulane is not going to go out there. I'm not saying they're not going to make mistakes, but they're not going to have a multiple drives in a row where it's like, okay, we had 3 3-and-outs as well as 2 busted coverages and a missed tackle in there that, let us get behind the 8 ball. They're just not going to do it.
Blake Harrell said it today. Jake Retzloff, he doesn't make mistakes. I don't think he's thrown an interception this season. And now he did go, 5 of 18 versus Ole Miss. I mean, it was a putrid stat line. But he is a guy that he is going to tuck it and run. He's not going to force the ball. I'll look up his turnover-worthy plays just to see if he's gotten away with any during this segment. But, you kind of know what you're going to get. You're going to get a lot of run game, and you're going to get play-action shot play because they have speed at receiver. So I am curious to see the balance of ECU because we saw against BYU, even if you do a good job versus the run, the play-action pass can still beat you, and especially in that second half, BYU burned ECU with some PA passes. The wheel route, ECU has looked susceptible to that versus BYU and Army. So Tulane's going to draw something up there. And there has to be a balance because you don't want to give up the explosive plays, but you also just can't let them beat you in the run game. So curious to see early downs, especially early. I'm expecting Tulane to go play-action shot first or second drive.
Yeah, I think so. I think they know if they can hit one of those big plays, especially because we mentioned it. East Carolina does not have phenomenal man corners. These guys are, regardless of who's in the game, they're high IQ guys. They play a good zone. They're in the right spots, but they're not the greatest just God-given athletes in the world. And Tulane's got some good receivers, so they're going to try and do something quick early. Wouldn't even be surprised if you see a double pass, some kind of trick play. early in this contest. But like Carroll said today, if you can get these guys behind the sticks, and it takes away Retzloff's ability to naturally run the football. Obviously you can still scramble. And it also takes away that shock factor when they try and push the ball deep. If it's 3rd and 13, they're going deep. So I think winning first and second down is always crucial, but really in this game too.
All right, Retzloff, according to Pro Football Focus, 5 games in, he has had 2 what's graded as a big-time throw, which basically means like an NFL caliber, deep ball or like tight coverage throw. He has had 5 turnover-worthy plays. He has no interceptions. Now, a turnover-worthy play can be a fumble or a pass, so it doesn't break down the numbers I'm looking at. Last year at BYU, he only had 12 big-time throws against 18 turnover-worthy plays. To give you some perspective, I'll pull up Caton's numbers, also through 5 games. Through 5 games, Caton has 11 big-time throws and 9 turnover-worthy plays, and last year had 19 big-time throws in half a season. So Retzloff, he's basically a guy who is going to beat you with his feet and make the simple reads and simple throws. So as I look at those numbers, and I haven't broken down the film, I'm sure he's capable of pushing the football down the field. But, I'm making him beat you. I'm making him beat coverage when possible. I'm making him make the big-time throws.
I am, and, I haven't watched a lot of them this year, but I did watch a decent amount of them last year. And, Kalani Sitake's never been a guy who really wants to open up and do crazy things. He knows his team's bigger, so he does kind of run some conservative play calling. We saw it this year with BYU. Also, the fact they were up in a lot of those games. They knew they were just better than their opponents. So I think we have to put him in a position where he's got to go out there and make the big-time throws in order to be successful, because so many times throughout his career, he's been able to be an Alex Smith, for lack of a better comparison.
Kenny Curlin says defense needs to shut down, limit their run, make them beat his passing. And Johnny Robertson says they need to stop the run. Yeah, I've seen these stats before. They're pretty incredible. John Summerall is 29-0 when his team outrushes the opponents.
Wow.
29-0. Tulane is 23-2 in conference games played at home since 2022. Both of their losses were at home. Okay, 23-2 in conference play overall, with both those losses coming at home. So 29-0 when John Summerall's team outrushes their opponent. Like, you would think there would at least be one fluky game in there.
Yeah.
But that just shows you how much they commit to the run.
Yeah.
It sets up everything.
It is, and when he was at Troy, they had some of the bigger linemen in
and they're
that
good
league.
up front. Yeah.
Yeah, and he likes to recruit guys who are upside. He wants to win the battle in the trenches, and that's kind of always been his deal. And he's not afraid to just play 3 yards in a cloud of dust if he has to. And again, also kind of has a conservative passing game because of that, where he doesn't have a lot of home run plays, and he's always done a good job of wearing defenses down.
Kenny Curlin says, will the Pirates start off fast or slow? Coming off a bye week, fresh legs might help us use our speed.
They are coming off a bye week as well. You have to remember that. I'm not trying to discount the comment, but both teams hopefully will have some freshness to them.
Cameron says, are we at a big disadvantage since we run the same offense as Ole Miss and Tulane has already seen it? I think it works both ways. I mean, if you're ECU, you have film on what they don't do well. If you're Tulane, you have teach tape on what you might see this weekend. But, I mean,
a lot of teach tape going on from that one.
Yeah, I mean, that was a bloodbath both ways. So, I mean, to me, that, if they would have gone there and they played well versus Ole Miss, I think it's more of a concern. Really, no opponent they've played to this point is a ton like ECU. So I feel like that's I don't know how much JDB keeps in contact with Ole Miss's staff, but if he does, you probably pick up some tips there. So I think that would be something that benefits ECU more than Ole Miss, but maybe I'm looking at it through purple-tinted glasses.
No, I think you're right. I think it is kind of 50-50, like you said. I mean, yes, they do have teach tape, but again, when Ole Miss wasn't successful, that just is giving East Carolina a playbook as to how to exploit this defense, right? So, kind of similar style in quarterbacks too. Yeah, I think it can be good, but again, it all depends on how well you do it, right? Did they do a better job with their teach tape, or do we do a better job with learning from Ole Miss's success? So I think it's a 50-50 opportunity. It's just a matter of who takes advantage of that opportunity.
The Pirate Pulse wants to know, will Hoist the Colors hit the casino at any point on my trip? Should I hit the casino? I feel like it's a possibility, but
I think it's a possibility. Here's the thing. There are casinos in a lot of places, but you can only get some of that Cajun food in
this
New
is true.
Orleans.
Food over casino.
Food always over casinos because food is specific to the area. You know, anytime it's casinos over food, you got to be in Vegas or Atlantic City.
Look, and more than likely, both are going to end with me losing money. I'd rather lose money paying for food.
There you go. Yeah, and paying for drinks with Corey.
Exactly. Corey Glore. I'm rooming with Scott Rogers on this trip.
Oh,
what could go
Lord.
wrong?
A lot.
By the way, that means Scott Rogers will either be around or in the background when we're doing our show live from New Orleans on Thursday. So that could be problematic.
That could be bad. I could see like Scooter walking around in just a towel or something.
That 100% sounds like something Scooter would do, because he's that type of guy. He always is trying to play for the camera. All right, I'll address this quickly before we get a break in. Pirate Mitch says, does not need to be discussed today, but if ECU is not going to pay the full $20 million to players, as allotted by the NCAA House Agreement, I want the breakdown of what they pay administrative staff and support staff. I'm sure you can get this for public universities. The questions need to be asked if the admin and support is too much of the budget. Pirate Mitch, valid questions for sure. I think ECU, first off, is nowhere near the $20 million in terms of paying players. Even if you took all the administrative and coaching costs, just salaries, they still maybe wouldn't even be halfway to $20 million. Like,
I mean, if you took every single assistant coach, head coach, every single sport, every athletic department, full-time employee, you'd be past halfway, I think.
Yeah,
you would have to be paying them zero.
Right. And you just can't do that because you still got to have good coaching. We're seeing, look, how much did UNC pay for this roster this year? And these 70 new players.
Yeah.
You can spend a lot of money and do it stupid. You got to pay for a good coach that knows how to develop players the right way for the place you're at. So there has to be a balance.
But I do understand the question.
Yeah,
I get the point.
For sure.
And I think this is something that is going to be looked at in the future, but you got to think all these people that you're mentioning, their contracts were negotiated prior to the House settlement. So I think there could be a thing where at the group of 5 level or even at the power 4 level with teams that maybe don't have the full 20, them saying, hey, look, coaches, we're going to have to pay you a little less at this level because we got to, allocate more money to players. I think that does happen in the future. I think that's a great point. I think it's a great way to look at things. But the unfortunate thing is you can't just walk in and be like, hey, guess what? Pay cut. Yeah. We got to go pay a quarterback. Sorry, I know you signed this contract. We're going to pay you $200,000 less. You just can't do it.
And here's the thing. Blake Harrell is making, I think, $1.3 million. That would probably rank towards the very bottom of the American.
The problem is you're paying Mike Houston, whatever the heck you're paying him.
So, I mean, that is true. But in terms of Mike was getting $2.3 million, if you wanted to hire a big-name head coach, quotes around that, then like you would have probably had to pay 2 point whatever to do that on top of what you're paying Mike Houston. So, like, you got Blake at a reduced rate. Part of that was he had not been a coach before. But, like, ECU did that in many ways. Not that they weren't convinced Blake was the guy, but it also allowed them to spend more money athletic department-wise on players. So there is a balance to it. I understand the question. And I think it's something that every athletic department is going to continue to go through over the course of the next handful of years.
Except for the ones with oil money who have hundreds of millions of dollars, and it doesn't matter.
ECU, unfortunately, still looking for that oil. Although we have some donors that have stepped up in a major way. All right, let's get a break in. We'll come back. We got to hit on more of the NFL and college football. We'll get more into just the significance of the ECU-Tulane game tomorrow, what it would mean for the conference, because we're going to look at the conference tomorrow, the conference title race, ODU all of a sudden, along with James Madison in the mix for like a college football playoff appearance. We'll kind of hit on that, how it relates to the Americans' chances at making the playoff, and much more tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. But on the other side, we'll get into college football, maybe some NFL too. This is Hoist the Colors.
Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human. About creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown. At National Finance, we're all about hometown support, just like ECU football. National Finance helps us win on and off the field. They've got your back when you need it most. Fast, easy personal loans for life's big plays. And just like us, they're committed to Eastern North Carolina. National Finance, proud supporters of ECU Athletics. Visit nfcmoney.com for loans as fast as today.
Hoist the sail!
Climb aboard as we set sail and hoist the colors.
Ahoy, me hearties!
Back to Steve and Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Welcome back in. Hoist the Colors, Monday, October 6th. We talked a little ECU-Tulane. We'll get more into that as the week progresses. All right. So Friday, we had our guy Joel Hancock in the chat. I can't even remember what led to us bringing up Penn State and UCLA. I think he's a Penn State fan. We were talking about the CBS big game of the week, and we were kind of laughing at the fact this game is going to be over before it even begins, and UCLA goes out and wins the game. You know, the final was 42-37, but it wasn't even that close. I know Penn State had a theoretical chance to tie or win at the end, but man, what? This is just why college sports are great, man. Like, just when we think we have an idea of what's going on, I mean, the world just gets turned upside down. And, like, that's sports in general, but, like, more so in just college sports, the unexpected can happen at any moment. Texas goes to Florida. Billy Napier is going to get fired. Florida, credit Bobby Harvard. He called the chomp, and he got that one right. But, man, what a weekend for college sports.
Yeah, I think a lot of it, you know, Coach Logan always talks about you're putting your faith in 18 to 22-year-olds. Some crap's going to go wrong, right? On top of it, the lack of continuity, the lack of, hey, I've played with this guy for 4 years, the lack of probably the brotherhood and the wanting to fight for the guy next to you. I mean, half the time I don't even know if the guys know everybody's name on the team, and that's not something that would have been a thing 4, 5, 6 years ago, all the way back to the beginning of college football in the early 1900s. So I think that's got a lot to do with it, where you're seeing more issues. But like I said, Coach Logan always says, like, you're still putting how much ever faith in, I mean, they're technically adults, right? They can vote, they can live on their own, they can buy a house, but at the end of the day, still from a maturity standpoint out on the field and just football knowledge, they're kids.
Virginia beats Louisville 30-27. I think the Who's might be legit.
They might be.
As weird as it is to say.
They really might be.
Like that's a sneaky great road win.
Yeah.
So they get that done, and you look at their schedule. They get Washington State at home, which obviously is whatever. They go to North Carolina.
Win.
More on that in a moment. They go to Cal.
Win. Cal's not very good.
Yeah. Your Dukies took it to them after a slow start. Wake Forest at home.
Win.
At Duke.
Should win. I think Virginia's better than Duke, but it'll be a good game.
Toss-up type game.
Toss-up. Yeah, for the sake of this, we'll say toss-up.
Virginia Tech at home. Now, that's a game they have. When's the last time they beat Virginia Tech?
I don't know. To Winsipedia I go. Continue
Yeah.
what you were talking about.
They should, theoretically. Now, it would be the most Virginia Tech thing ever to have just an awful season, but win their Super Bowl this year, quote-unquote, against Virginia, which would make a lot of Hokie fans happy. But that game will be in Charlottesville. So what I'm trying to say is a team that's 3-0 already in the ACC, we could see Virginia potentially play for a conference championship if they continue on this path. So as Philip looks up the last time VT and Virginia ended in a Who's win. I want to say maybe it happened recently, but maybe not. I know it had been a long time.
The last time they won was 2019.
Okay.
And dad darn it, the stupid ad popped up.
Yeah, that website is tough.
Yeah, it is. So before that, it was 2003. So they've beat them once since 2003.
Okay. So, Hokies obviously typically a more football power, but, Virginia's spending money, and money has a lot to do with success right now. A team that is spending money and not winning is the North Carolina Tar Heels. And, look, I've tried to stay away from talking about the Bill Belichick thing because it's just like I don't think people really care all that much around here.
And now it's a football issue. At first it was a pop culture issue. Now it's a football issue.
And I only watched like 5 minutes of game day because we took our kids to local pumpkin patch on Saturday. But I did happen to catch the Bill Belichick interview on College Game Day, and like I can't figure out if he's just completely disinterested. He was just kind of like smiling and laughing the whole time. Like, yeah, we need a few years, we need a few recruiting classes. Like they just brought in 70 guys, and they spent a ton of money. Like this. You're spending all this money. The fan base doesn't have the patience for that. I understand it takes time to build a football roster. You can't flip it overnight, but you also ran off how many guys? Like,
also, you don't have the years of life to wait. I mean, that's the other thing. Like, he's not 58 years old. Like, and maybe his health stays great and he can coach till he's 80, 82. Maybe not. And the thing is, like you said, he mentioned, like, we had 3 straight recruiting classes we didn't hit on. Well, it's the portal era. Figure it out, dude. Walk in some kid's kitchen and say, hey, I'm Bill Belichick. Here's my 8 Super Bowl rings. 6 of them were as a head coach. Come play for me. Here's a big fat check. And win.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there, man. But I'm honestly enjoying it. I am.
Oh, it's great. It's great.
I have some friends who are like legit UNC fans. And, like, not just, like, the bandwagon fans that I do feel kind of bad for, but, like, for the bandwagon fans.
Yeah, I do feel for, like, the ones who actually, like, have roots in Carolina and all that. And were honestly the ones who were, like, not obnoxious when they hired him. They were like, okay, this could go really, really good or really, really bad. Like, the people who were, like, open-minded about the situation, I feel bad for. The people who were like, oh, my God, we're winning a national championship no matter what. I'm like, no, you're not.
It is not going well in Chapel Hill. We'll see how many wins they end up with. Benjamin Chappell in the chat says the Who's are legit. If you told me that last year, I would not have believed you. He says Penn State is choking. Joel says I think 8 of the preseason top 25 teams are unranked after this week, including 3 of the preseason top 5. Texas, Penn State, Clemson.
That's crazy. It's 3 of the top 5 because there's always going to be a few that fluctuate, right? Like, hey, this team was number 22. Now they're like, they lost last week, so they're 27. But 3 of the top 5.
I think it's time. I know, like, this will probably never happen because the ESPN and the powers that be want numbers beside the names. But, like, can we just mutually agree as a college football universe to just not rank teams till after, like, 4 weeks? Because it's just stupid, man, especially now more than ever.
Yeah, I'm glad the playoff committee doesn't do it, at least.
Yeah.
And they would be really, look biased if they did do it. But, yeah, I'm with you with the AP. Yeah, give them a month. I mean, it's because that's only 3 legit games. Because at that point, you're playing, you got one game against the school with a blind in there. Unless you're the SEC, who waits till the last week of the season to schedule them. But
we will dive more into the American tomorrow, but a huge game coming up this Friday. Ranked South Florida is at undefeated North Texas. That'll be a huge Friday night game.
It would be, or will be.
And then Memphis is also ranked as they're unbeaten. They have the week off, but then they get ready to they play UAB, but then they have a game, I think, against South Florida the week after that. Yeah, they host South Florida and Tulane. So we could see a ranked Memphis squad coming to Greenville in mid-November. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But more on the American Championship race tomorrow and how it pertains to the Thursday game against Tulane for ECU. All right, let's get our final break in. We'll come back. We'll hit NFL after this, round out the show as well. This is Hoist the Colors.
It's time to soak up the savings at Greenville Toyota. Summer is here with hot deals on a great selection of new Toyotas, like a Corolla, $189 a month, or Tacoma, $279 a month. Soak up the savings at Greenville Toyota.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville, we've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
My hair is definitely a reflection of who I am. Wild, fun, fiery for sure.
It just goes with the flow.
Me and my hair, both untamable.
I wear it how I feel.
Feel fearless.
Feel empowered. Look fantastic.
Look fantastic.
Look fantastic. Feel unstoppable.
Unstoppable.
The sun is out, and so are the deals at Greenville Toyota. Soak up the savings on a hot selection of new Toyotas, like a Camry, $229 a month, or RAV4, $289 a month. Soak up the savings at Greenville Toyota.
Like all pirates, Stephen Igo is loyal and bold. He may also have a touch of scurvy. Back to Hoist the Colors on 94.3 The Game.
Welcome back in, Hoist the Colors on a Monday, final segment here. Huge sports weekend in general, so we've talked a little bit of everything. Trey Yesavage, MLB playoffs. We looked at ECU-Tulane, college football as a whole. Let's hit on NFL real quick. And we touched on the Panthers earlier. Phillip was inside Bank of America Stadium for that comeback win over the Dolphins, which, by the way, are we on McDaniel getting fired watch? That feels like that could happen any second, right?
I mean, I was talking about it with my mom on the way to the game. Zach the night before, it was like, if they lose tomorrow, he should get fired.
And the way they lost.
Yeah, and then you go up 17-0 and lose to the flipping Panthers. Yeah, you should be fired. Bye-bye, frat boy.
Yeah, he's got to go any minute now, but not as of now, as of 12:49 Eastern Time. The NFL in general, we were talking during the break, And we texted about this yesterday. Like, I feel like the product, I don't know what it is, man. It just doesn't feel crisp as it did. Maybe I'm just getting old and angry, but it also
Get off Steven's lawn.
Yeah, like I need the old NFL back when it was grainy, and we didn't have these unnecessary roughness penalties every other play. But I do feel like the one good thing about it is it's pretty wide open this year. At least 5 weeks in, it feels like a lot of different teams could win, and it feels like there's no dominant team. And maybe that's just because we already have no more undefeated teams. The Patriots went to Buffalo, won last night. The Broncos knocked off the unbeaten Eagles on the road. It feels like those two teams maybe announced themselves as contenders in the AFC, especially as playoff caliber teams. But like nobody, there's not a single game I'm going into this like, man, I really don't think my team can win that if you're a decent football team at least.
Yeah, I think so. Like I said, now when the top dogs play each other, there's never going to be one team that seems 100% unbeatable. Like there's always going to be 3 or 4 teams that can beat them. So I think maybe the only exception we're talking about during the break is Detroit. Yeah, they look terrible week 1, but brand new OC, brand new DC. And historically, that doesn't even bode well for teams throughout that entire first year of 2 new coordinators. But they have absolutely boat raced everybody since then. They got Kansas City next Sunday night. So, yeah, that'll be a little different because that's another one of those top echelon teams. Or upper echelon teams, but still, I would vouch to maybe say Buffalo or to Detroit. I mean, those guys had 23 injured players last year. They had guys who started there as 4-string guys starting in a playoff game.
That is a fair point. We finally saw Keaton Mitchell get activated yesterday, although the Ravens, which was looked at as a potential league favorite, they're now 1-4. Lamar Jackson missed the game. And their defense looks terrible. They got 44 to the Texans. Keaton Mitchell, 3 carries, 8 yards. So did not get he had 1 catch for 5 yards. Did not get a huge opportunity, although at least he was activated. And I did see, I think he either got called for a penalty on special teams or something that some Ravens fans weren't happy about. But at least he was back in the lineup, and hopefully they can get him back into. I guess if you're looking for the most entertaining team in the league, it's the Buccaneers. They play just insane football games.
Everything's been tight. Gosh, that was a great game yesterday, too, between them and Seattle. 2 former Panther quarterbacks who we didn't use right, duking it out, back and forth.
How does that make you feel?
It makes me ticked off at Tepper that he made bad hires and put coaches in situations that they were not going to play to the strengths of the quarterback. In fact, they played to the weaknesses of those guys, and just shows you why the owner should be able, or the fans should be allowed to fire the owner.
It also shows how much coaching matters, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
it does.
Baker Mayfield, 29 of 33, 379 yards.
Dude, there was less than 10 incompletions thrown in that game. It is the only game in NFL history where both quarterbacks threw for over 325 yards and had 80% completion percentage or better.
That's insane, man. Insane. As we mentioned, Bobby's Commanders, they win at L.A., 27-10 over the Chargers. And the Titans, did you see the fumble touchdown?
What a moron.
Interception, fumble, touchdown. I mean, poor Cardinals fans.
I know. They were rough.
So the Titans win 22-21. There's only one winless team in the NFL. Who are they?
It's Joey Football's Jets, Jets.
They lose to the Cowboys 37-22. And the Jets, they get to go to London to take on the Broncos next week.
And James Gillios, JTS.
Yeah, James was on he had a tough weekend between the Yankees and the Jets.
Yeah.
He was not in a good headspace. We'll have to get him on the show.
Did you like how Denver's handling this? So they went back to the hotel last night, ate dinner, and they're flying out today? I think that's smart.
Sean Payton, I feel like, I mean, he's just been in so many different scenarios now as head coach. Like, I trust whatever he does. I don't like his arrogance, but last year when they played back-to-back East Coast games, they went to, like, some random place in West Virginia to hang out a week. And I think they ended up winning both games. So, like, I trust in Sean Payton, as frustrated as his press conferences make me. So, we get Chiefs, Jaguars tonight. Jansen Kidd says he's foaming at the mouth for tonight's game. Have you gotten your rabies shot, Jansen? Just want to make sure, man. You're good. But I think, did he officially go with the Jags in that game? I can't even remember now. I know we went Chiefs.
Yeah. Did we pick this one?
We did.
Okay, good. I need to get it right because I don't think I've gotten like an NFL game right all week.
Yeah, I did not have a great week of picks. I think.
Yeah, he went Jags. You know, he did say Jags money line.
Okay.
We went Chiefs. The good thing is we don't have to watch Tay-Tay. She's going to be on Jimmy Fallon tonight. So,
competing interests there for the Kelsey and Taylor Swift clan. Corsair says today's show's almost put me to sleep. Y'all are better than this. Must have the Monday morning blues.
I'm not going to lie. Corsair, I got like 5 hours sleep last night and drove back from Charlotte this morning. Yeah, I'm
Look, Corsair, I don't know about Philip or you, but I've had a great time on the show.
had a great time, but I'm tired.
I said it earlier, man. I had a great sports weekend outside of Saturday night with the Mariners losing. And look, we're going to talk a ton of ECU on the show. We always do. But we also have talked ECU-Tulane Friday. We talked ECU-Tulane today. We talk ECU-Tulane tomorrow. We're going to talk ECU-Tulane Wednesday. We're going to talk ECU-Tulane Thursday. So we're going to talk a lot of ECU. We also can't talk ECU for every single second of the show.
Ah, dang it. There was one segment we were kind of talking about getting to that we didn't. We might be able to do that tomorrow.
Okay.
The one about the team going out and doing stuff. Yeah.
I do want to hit on that. Yeah, ECU on the road this year doing some different things, not just going to the hotel and going to sleep. They are doing some sightseeing. So we'll hit on that tomorrow. I'm going to write a story about it as well on Hoist the Colors. But we'll get more into it tomorrow. Case and Ramaley will join us. We'll talk about the American, the impact this Thursday's game will have on the championship and a whole lot more. So we'll see you tomorrow, 12 noon on Hoist the Colors.